Now, I ain't about to take all day on this video. I'm just going to come and shoot it at you straight. I'm thejbgunner, this is Crime Time. The reality of this is you have to throw out the grand jury indictment in the Idaho 4 murder case. You have to. We need to get back to doing this trial like normal trials, preliminary hearings, all of this, because Steve Goncalves, look, man, I respect him, but if anything that I'm hearing is true regarding Steve Goncalves and some of the grand jurors, you have to throw out the indictment. Have to, period.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm thejbgunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started with this quick, brief video, I want to say first and foremost, thank you to everybody that supports the channel or any of my channels, regardless of the method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. Love you guys. Big shout out to you guys. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Unlike other people in this community, I don't do the choo-choo trains, none of that. I really am 100% crowdfunded by you. Shout out to Summer for hitting the tip jar right before we went recording this video. I'm actually recording it a little bit late in the day. Usually I record them at like 3 and 4 in the morning. Thank you, Summer. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right in this. By the way, if you're not a snowflake or, raging leftist, feel free to hit the links down below. Check out some of my other work, my politics channel. A lot of stuff going on in the world of war right now. But anyways, check out some of that. If you get into gaming, I got some shit down there too. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. What we're going to be talking about is Steve Goncalves, who, by the way, let me make something clear. As a person whose daughter was murdered, I actually support Steve Goncalves and his methods a lot more than most people. I know that if someone had murdered my daughter and I saw law enforcement dragging their feet, and I saw all this, I would flip the fuck out too. I honestly would go through every measure I could, but here's the reality. Sometimes when you let your emotions drive you, you fuck shit up. Let's just call it what it is. It's just reality, and I think that it is possible that he did here. Now, let me make something clear. This Howard Blum, or whatever the fuck his name is, who's been writing a series of articles, I don't necessarily believe him. But it is possible, and it does bring up reasonable doubt, right? I don't believe that he has some sort of inside track that other people do not have. I never have from the very first article he dropped, and everybody, I remember back when we first started covering this story, and he first dropped an article, everybody tried to get me to read it, and we covered it on the show, all of this different thing, and even then I said, this kind of sounds like some bullshit. Kind of sounds like some bullshit. Let's see what he wrote this time. We're going to take a look at this, because if what he wrote is true in any way, you have to throw out the grand jury indictment. So this comes from his latest article. It says, yet Steve had been told that 2 survivors allegedly had not been awake while the killings had taken place, but that they had heard everything. Now, I believe that. Wholeheartedly, I believe that. More astonishingly, his grand jury sources alleged that the 2 girls had been texting one another as the murderer methodically went from one room to the next. Now, here's the deal. If any grand jurors, let alone 2, was having personal contact with the victim's father, you have to throw out the grand jury indictment because it's no longer unbiased. If there are grand jurors who are supposed to be secret, if they are contacting or having any conversations with Steve Goncalves, it is 100% unfair to Bryan Kohberger. You have to throw out. I don't give a fuck if you think Kohberger's guilty or not. You have to throw it out. It's unfair, period. He's already not getting a fair trial. He currently, I think it's October 26th, has a motion to throw out the grand jury, which I believe wholeheartedly it should be thrown out, and I think it will be thrown out. We have a pretty fair judge in this case, John Judge, and I think that if there is any reality to this, and the judge would know, because if it is true that the two girls were texting each other at that very time. It's going to be evidence. The phone, the digital evidence from the phones will show that these two girls were texting each other at the exact time of the murders. And if that's the case, and Steve Goncalves knows that, there's only one way he can know that. And that is if the grand jurors did speak to Steve Goncalves. And if they spoke to Steve Goncalves, it is poisoned the grand juror pool. You have to get rid of him. You have to get rid of the entire indictment. Anyways, the possibility that two people had a sense of the horror while it occurred and had not acted, calling neither friends nor 911, left Steve floored, of course. And no less confounding, they had if his sources were as knowledgeable as he believed, then let hour after hour after hour tick away before they finally decided to summon friends, which we all thought was goofy because they summoned friends and not 911. It added an entirely new band of mystery to a crime that already has a bunch of unanswered questions. If it's true, I agree with G's right here. If it is true, it's a bombshell. If it is true, and the girl, and look, man, the judge would know this. I'm saying right now, and I'm curious, I want you guys' opinion. If this is true at all, and Howard Blum or whatever his name is correct, and Steve Goncalves was approached and had personal conversations with two grand jurors, you have to throw this case, you have to throw the indictment out. It doesn't mean Kohberger would walk, but it does mean that you would have to go back to the initial. You would either have to get a new grand jury or you would go back to the initial process, which would kind of start the case all over again and go through the preliminary hearing and all of this. You have to. There is no way, because Bryan Kohberger will win on appeal. The whole Giglio Brady thing is a real thing. Is that how you pronounce it? Plus this, Bryan Kohberger will win this case. I 100% believe this. And I've said this since the very beginning. It's not that I 100% believe Bryan Kohberger is innocent. I believe the fucking system fucked up. I believe Bryan Kohberger will win this case based on technicalities like this. Just like this. Now, what we have coming up here, and we'll get to all this because what's his name has responded. We'll listen to punk ass. We'll take a look right here. Coopin Duper. Oh, Coopin Duper says the next court date is October 26, 23. The issue at hand is whether the grand jury indictment charging Bryan Kohberger will be dismissed. We're going to get a Halloween gift, folks. If the defense does win their battle to have the indictment tossed, which now I think they will, this does not mean BK will walk free. She's correct there. He will continue to be held based on the probable cause outlined in the affidavit, and that is true. Basically, there will be a preliminary hearing. She says then either a new grand jury will be convened, and the case will be presented to them for indictment, or there will be a preliminary hearing set, like originally. She says, I don't anticipate the indictment being overturned, but we shall see what judge decides. See, here's the thing is I now do feel like the indictment will be overturned. And I think it should be. If any of you believe truly in the innocent until proven guilty mantra, and you truly believe that, and you truly believe that he should get a fair trial and not a corrupt system backing this trial, then you have to understand that if a grand juror was in contact with a victim's father, it automatically muddies the waters. And I'm curious what you guys think in regards to this, right? Now, Steve Goncalves has apparently responded. We'll see. In a digital publication series, The Eyes of a Killer, Howard Blum reports on the Moscow murders. He claims that Steve Goncalves was conducting his own investigation into the murders in conjunction with the official investigation, which, by the way, part of that was that the FBI stopped him from approaching a witness. If that's true, that's even crazier. So now you got witness tampering. If that is true, you have potential witness tampering by families of the victim And then you have the muddying and the poisoning of the grand jury. Man, Bryan Kohberger is going to walk, man. And I've been saying this since day fucking one. And everybody's like, well, you support Bryan Kohberger. No. I don't think you're hearing me. I don't know that motherfucker. I'm just telling you, based on my knowledge of the system, how it should work. Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Goncalves family, said he went on to say that Blum accuses Goncalves of taking liberties with the case, potentially jeopardizing Bryan Kohberger's case. Exactly. In a statement from the Goncalves family lawyer, Goncalves denounced much of what Blum states, why not all, of what Blum states in his publication, saying Blum is profiting from his dead daughter and his family's grief. That's all. You know, ain't that odd how that's what everybody rolls with? Ain't that weird how everybody says, you understand that's what news does. That's what news and commentary does. We profit off of news and commentary. But ain't it really weird how for some reason, only, by the way, it's only in the true crime community, where you're like, you motherfuckers want the news, but then you get mad at people delivering the news. You want the information, then you get mad. Do you think we should all just do this shit for free? It's so absurd. While you sit at home watching all the content we put out. It's fucking crazy. You genuinely think we should just donate our time? You think the news anchors should just donate their time to you? Who the fuck are you, jackass? You should give it to us for free. Suck my dick. Let's move on. I just want to make it very clear to the public that we have not spoken to Mr. Blum about the death of our daughter. This is what Steve said. This is nothing more than grandstanding and a very, very poor attempt at getting attention. This piece is obviously fictional, but written in poor taste. The Goncalves family would ask that everybody please respect the victims of this tragedy and continue to support trustworthy journalism. Goncalves, like Nancy Grace, like Cooper Duper, like what's her name? Shit, I forgot her name. Fuck. Goncalves says, Bumfield. Goncalves said in a statement to Nonstop Local, Blum has contacted the Goncalves family for an interview, which they say they have declined multiple times. Okay. Did Blum say he had talked to you personally? One thing I did notice, no News Nation isn't covering this shit at all. Now, I don't blame them for covering the fuckery in the Middle East. I'm covering that my damn self. That's why I barely got time for these type of videos, but I'm giving you a little something here today. I'm curious why they didn't cover this at all. You know why they didn't cover this? You know why News Nation didn't cover this? You know why Cooper Duper isn't somewhere talking about this, or Bumfield, Cooper Duper and Bumfield ain't talking about this? Because it's something that could be beneficial to the defense. Why isn't Cooper Duper and Blumfield they talked about every other rumor that existed, every other rumor that could possibly dog Bryan Kohberger? How come they're not discussing this rumor which could possibly exonerate Bryan Kohberger? Because they're biased. Cooper Duper and Bumfield are biased as fuck. I say we throw out the grand jury and we do this the right way with a preliminary hearing, present all evidence. I say that's what we do. What say you? Steve Goncalves, I love him to death, but if any of this is accurate, he just won the case for Bryan Kohberger. I'm going to say this right now. It is October 10th, 2023. If any of this comes out to be true, Steve Goncalves won the case for Bryan Kohberger. I still respect Steve. I still think it's okay. I know he's just a dad trying to get answers. But Bryan Kohberger, at the very minimum, has gotten this grand jury indictment thrown out with this. If it's true, if it's accurate, and ultimately, even if he's found guilty, he'll win. He'll get sent back on appeal. There's just not enough here, man. And there's too much fuckery. There's too much potential corruption. There's too many fucking potential lies that's involved in this case. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like what I do here and you find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Support the channel. Appreciate every last one of you. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. This is today's video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Free Kohberger.